Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're going to be going over a potential wildcard draft for Game Week 22. So if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment. Are you thinking of wildcarding anytime soon? Subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, let's go over the defenders and the goalkeepers. So, in goal, we do have Dubravka and Areola. You don't necessarily need both of them, but if you have the extra money, I quite like these as your options because they just rotate really well. Obviously, you could play Areola, who's got Bournemouth at home this week, and then you can play Dubravka for the next three, who's got Luton, Forest, and Bournemouth. And then, obviously, when Areola has Arsenal away, you can then play Areola, who's got Brentford. So they just alternate really well. It is a 0.3 difference as well. Like, if you went Dubravka and Turner, obviously Turner's 3.9, so it costs you a 0.3 difference to bring in the other 4.2 keeper. But I do like them both as options, and they are both first choice. And for 4.2, you know, it's not too bad at all. You can go Turner if you want, but Forest aren't great defensively, whereas West Ham have clearly changed it around, and obviously Newcastle, hopefully they get back to how good they were, but they do have some nice fixtures coming up as well. But yeah, they just rotate really well. But if you don't have the funds for this, you need that money elsewhere, then obviously Turner is another option. Again, it's a 0.3 difference. Is that worth having like a decent keeper every week? I'd argue and say it is. Like 0.3 isn't like a massive amount of money. And so yeah, they would be the keepers that I would potentially go with on a wildcard draft, and hopefully they can get a lot of points over the next few fixtures if you do decide to go with those two. So those are the goalkeepers. Not really much more to talk about from them. At the back, though, we do have a bit of a benching headache. This is a 3-4-3 formation, so you will be having a benching headache every week with Trent and players like Walker and Porro and stuff like that. Obviously, the big information now is that we've kind of got confirmation of blank game week 26, I believe it is, where Trent blanked, well, Liverpool blank, Spurs blank, Chelsea blank, and then also Luton blank as well. So that's 4 teams blanking. Of course, 3 of those teams, a lot of people are going to have a player from. So a lot of people are going to have Palmer. A lot of people are going to either have like Porro, Richarlison, or maybe even both. And a lot of people are going to have like Trent, maybe Jota as well. So yeah, that game week 26 has really kind of messed things up. Obviously, still a few game weeks away, but with the return of Haaland and players like that, transfers are going to be used elsewhere, so definitely something to think about when kind of planning your team. Obviously, a free hit is always viable if you don't have like that many players playing, but you kind of want to avoid that. I always like using a free hit to attack a big double because I just feel like you get more points. Whereas, you know, a blank game week, if you're fielding like 9 or 10 players, it shouldn't be too bad. Whereas if you can get like 11 players or like 8 players that are doubling in a free hit, like that, I think is just a much better outcome than just getting a few players just to play just for the sake of it. That's just me though. I just like attacking more fixtures. But either way, we have Gabriel, Estepinian, Trent, Porro, and Walker. So obviously Gabriel and Trent are flagged. Trent apparently is fine now, so he will lose that flag soon. And then Gabriel, he got taken off for precaution, that knock, so he should be fine as well. And Gabriel, like I say, you could go Saliba if you want. Like, I've got 0.9 mil left in the bank on this draft, so if you wanted to bring Saliba in, you could. But Gabriel, I think he's just playing really well. He's scoring bullet headers for fun. And yeah, with Arsenal, you only really need, I think you only really need one defender with the fixtures coming up. But I think there's much better options to have instead of like double Arsenal defense. But obviously he's got Forest this week, then Liverpool at home, West Ham away. That's not exactly an easy fixture. Burnley away, Newcastle at home. Like, I don't think you need 2 Arsenal defenders for that fixture run. But Gabriel is fine. You know, he's 4 point. Is he 5 now? He might be 5 now. Yeah, I think I got him for like 4.78, something like that. But yeah, Gabriel in this draft. Estepinian as well. Yeah, the fixtures coming up are really nice. You don't really bring in Brighton defenders for the clean sheets because the clean sheets this year have just been non-existent. But I don't think people realise how big of an impact Estepinian makes into that defence. And I think just with the fixtures coming up, I think he has to be in like a lot of people's teams. He's just a set and forget now, as long as he doesn't get injured again, for me anyway. He did come off early as well, which wasn't like the most ideal thing. He came off on the 71st minute. But again, I guess he is just getting his fitness back and stuff like that. But still got 2 bonus points. So yeah, 8 points for Estepinian was really nice. But yeah, with Luton away coming up, I think he'd be an absolutely great asset to have in your team this week. And then Trent obviously makes the team. Like I say, he should be back. Chelsea home. You don't necessarily. I feel like if you sold Trent, you don't need him for the next 2 fixtures. You could always buy him back in game week 24 because then he has Burnley, Brentford. Yes, they blank in 26, but I don't think you have to bring him back for Chelsea and Arsenal. Again, he could do really well in those fixtures. Like, he is capable of doing well in any fixture, but I don't think it's like a must-need thing to get this player back into your draft. But obviously, if you're on a wild card, you bring him in regardless. So yeah, he's in the team. We've also got Porro as well. Porro, I think, becomes less attractive as an option because Maddison is now back. Maddison will be on set pieces and stuff like that. But I think Porro's attacking potential is still really, really good. And I still think, you know, if they get a clean sheet, he's going to be up there on bonus and stuff, especially if not many goals have been scored. And obviously, Spurs fixtures are really, really nice. They do blank in 26, but as I say, this wild card kind of takes control of that. Like, he don't have to worry about it because there's only 3 players in this draft that do blank in 26. But yeah, Porro, I still really, really like as an option. And then Walker's in this draft as well, just because he's like the one City player that kind of has played pretty much every fixture this season, and they do double in 25. That's why we have gone triple City on this draft. Yeah, either way, the only issue is it's a benching headache every week because you can only play 3 of these if you're playing like your 4 midfielders and your 3 strikers. And like this week alone is a headache. Like, who do you play out of these? Like, you play Trent, obviously, but then you have to play 2 more out of Gabriel, Estepinian, Porro, and Walker. I'd probably play... It's just so hard to decide because they're just all good options. I'd probably bench Gabriel because I think Forest away isn't as easy as it looks on paper. I think I'd play Walker because Burnley at home is just, you know, you'd like to think that's a clean sheet. And then the other one is literally between Porro and Estepinian, both attacking, both good fixtures. Obviously, you could go with the home fixture for Porro, but then benching Estepinian, Luton away. It'd be the perfect time to bench boost, but obviously you can't bench boost when you wildcard. So that would be the only problem with this draft, but it just kind of sorts you out for the doubles and the blanks and stuff like that. But either way, it's one of those, really. So yeah, that's the back line and the goalkeepers. In midfield, we have Saka, Bowen, Garnacho, Foden, and Palmer. Saka, like I say, has been very, very underwhelming lately, but I still think he's an asset worth holding on to. I think that with his numbers, I think the returns will come. But yeah, he's obviously just been really annoying. Like, I've had Saka for weeks now, and he's been really, really annoying to hold. But it's just one of those things. Like, you know, the week you get rid of him, he's going to end up getting like a double-digit hold. But yeah, Saka's in there, obviously, pens, stuff like that. Bowen also makes this draft. They do have a couple of tricky fixtures coming up. But like I say, if you bring Richarlison in, I mean, you could bring Richarlison on this wildcard draft, and then obviously just transfer him out as you get closer to the game week of 26, because you're going to have a few free transfers just kind of mess around with by the time that comes around. Obviously, it's nice to have a couple in the bank for injuries and stuff, but yeah, if you wanted to go Richarlison and play the fixtures and just get rid of him closer to game week 26, then you very well could do that. You go Bowen if you want, but yeah, Richarlison, I mean, you don't necessarily need the money, but yeah, I guess you could go Richarlison if you really wanted to. You just have to get rid of him or Porro by the time that game week 26 rolls around. So you'd have to think about that. Obviously, like I say, Spurs have the better fixtures. It's just whichever you want to go with over those two. So I put Bowen in the draft anyway, but Richarlison is an absolutely fine option as well. Garnacho is on there just for bench fodder, really. He's just a nice player to have on the bench anyway. He seems to be playing every minute now. Only 4.8. Yeah, absolutely fine having him. The other 2 options are Foden and Palmer. Foden in there, obviously, because of the double coming up. De Bruyne is obviously back now, and yeah, you could potentially get him in this squad, but I think his minutes are still a bit of a risk, whereas Foden, I think, is going to get a lot more game time. Obviously, they've got a double in coming up in 25 as well, so I don't think every City option is going to be playing both games in that double, apart from like maybe Haaland and stuff like that. Maybe Walker as well. Like, Foden will probably get benched on one of the fixtures coming up, but I just think for that price, I think he's going to be really, really good going forward. And then yeah, Palmer is just, obviously, it's an option that I think everybody has to have in their draft. Yes, does blank in 26, but as you can see, Trent, Porro, and Palmer all blanking in 26. They're the only ones that you have to really worry about. But anyway, that's the midfield. And then up top, we do have Haaland, who is in the draft because he's been pictured back in training. Obviously, if we have an update, I think there's actually a press conference today. If there is an update that he's like going to be out, then obviously you'll have to rejiggle this this wildcard draft. But if he's fine, then obviously he's a player that you're definitely going to want in because of that Burnley home fixture, captaincy option, and then they've got that double coming up. And then also Watkins and Solanke make this draft as well. Again, I mean, you could bring in Tony if you really want to for the double that they've got coming up. Obviously, you don't have enough in this draft. You probably have to get rid of Bowen for Richarlison if you wanted to do that. Which, again, not really an issue in itself, but that would get you another doubler, and then it'd get you 4 doublers in 25, which is pretty nice, to be fair, when there's only a couple of teams doubling. So yeah, that could be something you go with instead. And then yeah, you just play Watkins, Tony, and then obviously Haaland. So like I say, every week you'd be playing like 3-4-3. So you'd have your Saka, Richarlison, Foden, Palmer for your midfield, your top, obviously your 3 strikers, and then it's just which defenders you play. And it's just the only problem with this draft is the headache that they bring every week. And I mean, you could get rid of someone like, I'd argue even maybe getting rid of Gabriel. I know it'd be a bit silly after he just got a massive 17 pointer. I mean, if it turns out that Gabriel is out, then obviously you just drop him for like a 4 mil player or something like that. But again, it's just one of those things. Like, it's never nice having a benching headache, but I mean, you could always just bench boost soon if you really wanted to. They all have really good fixtures coming up, barring Arsenal. But yeah, that's kind of a wildcard draft that I came up with. Obviously, we'll find out more information by Tuesday. We may make an updated one by then. We'll have to wait and see. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider hitting the like button down below. Let's try and hit 50 likes. Leave a comment. What are your thoughts on this wildcard draft? Are you going to be wildcarding anytime soon? Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell. We're very close to 10,000 subs. If we could hit that by the end of the season, it'd be absolutely insane. Absolute limbs. But either way, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And until next time, peace.